The umpire's wanting to know, are they just going to keep playing? Do we need to stop for commercial breaks? Trying to ask that guy over there in the orange shirt. He's coming over to talk to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to College Family Softball. That's the Tulsa Softball. This afternoon, Jake teaches the Cougars at your Tulsa Hurricane. For the safety of our student athletes and those around you, both is not positioned by the Southwest. But also like to find out that if you're there at another conference, encourages and emotional sportsmanship, a student athlete's coaches and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, ethnic comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated. Also, fans, don't forget to stop by the concession for some great tasting snacks and drinks while you enjoy watching your Golden Hurricane. Concessions are located directly behind the press box. Since 1930, the Golden Hurricane Club has provided USF with critical funding to help meet the rising costs associated with operating a top-tier collegiate athletics program. Today, the vendor gets priced below $50. You can help contribute to the continued success of Golden Hurricane Athletics. For more information on joining the Golden Hurricane Club, please visit goldenhurricaneclub.com. You Hurricane fans, you see the Powerball Hurricane game. Bring it to our promotion table and win a prize of your choice out of the Hurricane Prize Fund. Here at the Golden Hurricane by visiting the key lake along the southeast corner of 11th and Harbor, 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and 11 to 3 on Saturday. Also, if you have a youth softball team that might be a part of the Tulsa softball experience, there are opportunities available and your kids boost team and have a post-game autograph session. For more information, contact Savannah Boyd at 631-3093. You'll have free water for all dogs and $1 hot dogs for everyone else. Route 66 Pet Rescue will also be attended for some of their dogs and adopted applications. Also be sure to come out to Michael B. Case Tennis Center this Friday, April 12th, as the men's tennis team takes on SMU at 5 o'clock. Same as this year, if you're a key player inside of the running, you take time, the left and right to the corner. Everyone in the tennis will see the buy one, get one free box combo. Good winning ratings, same location. Remember that the team has 2 total bases in a game. Everyone in attendance gets a free small slice of pizza from Simple Cider. Fans follow all Golden Hurricane sports on their iPhone or mobile device by liking us on Facebook and follow Golden Hurricane on Twitter. Also, we'd like to thank Paul Newman, 2019 Dugout Club, for more information on George. Call 631-2342. And if you hit the home run, make sure you get up your seat and get loud, and we will throw a shirt for every home run hit by the Golden Hurricane.
Okay.
And here's the starting lineup. First for the Houston Cougars. In left field, leading on number 3, Sarah Barker. At center field, batting second, 0, Lindsay Stewart. At second base, batting third, number 27, Ariel James. At third base, batting fourth, number 8, Sarah Queen. At first base, batting fifth, number 5, Savannah Heatner. In right field, batting sixth, number 24, Maya Thomas. The designated player, batting seventh, number 6, Tiara Williams. At shortstop, batting eighth, number 4, Aspen Howie. Catching today's game, batting ninth, number 20, Brooke Lenoy. And pitching today's game, Presley Bell. Assistant coach is Megan Gibson Lawson. Also, Jessica Schultz and the head coach of the Cougars, Kristen Vesley.
Cougars on the road in Tulsa, Oklahoma, looking to salvage a game in this 3-game series. Yesterday, a doubleheader swept by the Golden Hurricanes of Tulsa as they continue a red-hot start at 7-1 now in conference play. Tulsa and Houston tangling in this, the final matchup before they move on to next weekend's conference play. Lincoln Rose, Kit McConico with you here on the American Digital Network. Kit, again for Houston, there's been so many close games, but this year, the little things just haven't gone their way. Meanwhile, for Tulsa, a brilliant start.
Indeed, that's the case. Tulsa, big victories yesterday. They have now won 7 straight. Another series victory yesterday. Houston will be looking to bounce back today in the final game of the series.
Take a look at some of the keys to today's matchup. What stands out to you for the Cougars?
Well, for Houston, they have to start fast. Overall, the Cougars are 11-0 when they score in the first inning. They are 19-2 when they score first. And swing the sticks, especially sometimes Houston can be too picky at the plate, trying to find their spouse as their head coach. She wants them to be more aggressive in the batter's box and a bounce back. They've lost their last 5 in conference, slipped last weekend by USF. They need to get a victory in the American today.
For Tulsa, after a 10-11 finish last year in conference, already off to a 7-1 start, how do they keep things going?
Well, they're 8-3 at home this season, 7-1 in conference, and they're 12-7 against the Cougars here in Tulsa. Just keep things going, protect the family here at their home facility. And the young guns, even though they returned 7 starters, 3 pitchers from last year, the freshmen really leading by example. They're stepping up. And the Barkfeld effect, 14th year as the head coach of Tulsa. What a job he has done 13 campaigns. They have 6 regular season titles, 7 conference titles under the head coach for the Golden Hurricane.
Take a look at some of the players to watch for Houston. Talk about a woman who does it all. Savannah Hebner, last year's co-pitcher of the year in the conference, an All-American, can swing the bat, and yes, she can even help out with some stylish tips as well.
She can indeed do it all. The senior from Colorado, second-team All-American, academic All-American a year ago. Great at the plate, third on the team in batting average, and in the circle leads the team with over 100 innings pitched.
There is a waiting list to have her tend to your hair. Meanwhile, across the way for Tulsa, again, one of the best individuals we've seen in this league in quite some time, in Julia Hollingsworth.
Senior outfielder entered the week leading the American in batting average at .440. No other conference player with at least 10 games under the belt has an average of better than .385.
Back-to-back years as first-team All-Conference, looking to continue that pursuit once again. When we come back, opening pitch, Tulsa with a chance for a sweep against a talented Cougars program in their backyard.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story, so far.
Welcome back to the Diamond for this third and final matchup between Tulsa and Houston here on the American Digital Network. Lincoln Rose, Kit McConico, and for the first time today, chance to check in down on the Diamond with Bruce Howard. Bruce?
Hey, guys. Well, the weather has been a factor in this series. There's no question about it. And for the Golden Hurricane, winning those 2 games, very important on Friday. And the reason that they played a doubleheader yesterday is because of the impending weather. Hoping to get this game in today, but tomorrow we're going to be lousy here in Tulsa. And as a result of that, they wanted to get this thing kind of front-loaded a little bit. As far as that first game yesterday was concerned, with the 2 really good pitching staffs, who would imagine 16 runs and 20 hits in that first game? Tulsa ended up winning the game 10-6. And then in the second game, obviously Kristen Vesley, the head coach of Houston, not happy with her team's defense. They committed 5 errors, 3 unearned runs for Tulsa, and they won the game by a final score of 3-1. For head coach Don Barfeld of the University of Tulsa, he was not pleased with his team's plate discipline midway through the week against Kansas in a loss in that midweek game. But then it was much better yesterday, and I don't think there was any question that the team performed a whole lot better yesterday, especially on the offensive side. Should be a great matchup. Tulsa-Houston games are always good, but a little bit of urgency, I think, for Houston. They don't want to go any further underwater in this early American Athletic Conference season. Guys?
Yeah, Bruce, thank you. And, of course, Houston in that second game was able to strike first, only to see Tulsa put up 3 in the third, and that would be all they would need. Both pitchers in that second game would go to the distance, as we saw in the earlier contest, that unique dynamic only available in softball, where a starting pitcher would get the save, and Pocop and Dels, who would come in relief, would get the well-deserved victory. But it is Pocop getting the start here in the third game, as Sarah Barker at the plate. It'll be Barker, Lindsey Stewart, Ariel James, the top third of the lineup today for Kristen Vesley and the Cougars.
Barker, the left fielder, transfer from the University of North Texas, leading things off.
Up the middle, it'll get through. Leadoff base hit as Barker sets the table.
Great work there, Barker, doing exactly what she was tasked with. Houston, so important to get off to a hot start. A team that, well, they're able to strike first, generally able to come up victorious. They're 19-3 when scoring first.
Great to see Barker healthy. Last year injured mid-season. And that does bring up Lindsey Stewart, former Conference USA Player of the Year when she spent her freshman campaign with UTSA. Past 3 seasons now with the Cougars.
Stewart, a greater Houston area product, as are most of the Cougars, out of Pearland, Texas. 364 average on the season, 43 hits and 118 at-bats.
She had an on-base streak that was recently snapped, including 0 for 6 yesterday in the doubleheader. This will hang up there out in right. Underneath it is Minen, and Barker's going to have to hold it first.
Good work there, Pochop able to get Stewart fly out to right. Pochop picks up the first out.
That'll give way to the third spot in this lineup, Ariel James. James from the Oklahoma City area, from Moore, Oklahoma, second team all-conference last year. Former freshman of the year here in the American. Trying to come through with one out, and Barker, your runner on first.
Junior batting .330, started every game this season for the Cougs.
She was 1 for 5 yesterday against Tulsa's 3 pitchers. Again, originally this was going to be game 2 taking place today, as Bruce mentioned. Just trying to adjust for the weather. It's not just here in Tulsa, it's all up and down this time zone. As we saw, actually, the Houston baseball team and ECU schedule a doubleheader for today instead of trying to squeeze in a third game tomorrow. Todd Whitting's men on the diamond, able to actually end a 10-game winning streak for ECU baseball, who started off 6-0 in conference. Meanwhile, just one team unbeaten in softball, as UCF with a great start at 7-0. Tulsa half game back at 7-1. Trying to improve to 8-1 if they can get a sweep here at home of Houston. Again, this is a Tulsa team. If you look at their roster, everybody who's not a freshman, every year of their career with the Golden Hurricane has ended with a conference title.
What a job they've been able to do the last few years. Tulsa, the cream of the crop in the American softball, and off to a good start this year. Winners of their last 7, looking to make it 8 in a row, trying to pick up this sweep over Houston.
Even last year when they finished 6th in the conference, a losing record 10-11, they still found a way to win the conference tournament for a 3rd straight year. Went on to play the regional over in Norman. Able to whip around on this one and out of play.
And James doing a good job with the full count. Fouls off the pitch from Pochop.
Mentioned we saw Pochop in game 1 yesterday. She would get the start, come out of the game, come back in for the save, as that is a foul ball. So Pochop yesterday, her 4th save after 3 innings of work, allowing 2 hits, a couple of runs, both earned. Would walk 1 and strike out 1 of the 14 batters she faced through 54 pitches yesterday. And that was in that very eventful 10-6 affair. Although not much of that occurring under the watchful eye of Pochop in the circle.
Sophomore righty out of Henderson, Nevada, came into this weekend with a 2.75 ERA. Just over 70 innings pitched. Batters averaging 227 against her.
That ERA only slightly swelling yesterday for the sophomore to 2.83. A 1-hopper. There are 2 runners on with 1 away for Kristen Vesley's Cougars here in the 1st inning. Barker moves down to 2nd, the walk to James.
Good at bat from the second baseman. Picks up the walk, got it to a full count.
Vesley, the 2-time All-American here in the Sooner State for the Sooners. She is just the 2nd ever head coach. She was on Kyla Hollis' staff, the woman who, of course, founded this program and got the well-deserved promotion, and she's now surrounded herself by former All-Americans. Megan Gibson-Lofton out of A&M, who's in the Aggie Hall of Fame, the great pitcher, and Jessica Schultz, former Sooner in her own right.
Absolutely incredible staff assembled there in Space City. Cougars continuing to climb the ranks in the American and in the country when it comes to softball.
Sarah Queen at the plate at the moment. Had a couple of RBI yesterday.
Queen, the junior from Jersey Village, another Houston product.
She would actually, I believe, go 3 for 7 with 3 RBI when the doubleheader was complete.
280 average for the Cougars' third baseman.
Sarah, last year, first team all-conference, fights this one off.
Queen, 28 hits, 100 at-bats coming into the game, has 25 runs batted in. That leads the Cougars.
And that's great to see from her. She's always had the defense in the infield, and the offense has come along as well. Gets around the bat on this one. As able to get underneath it, squeeze it in for the second out. Runners have to hold up.
Now it's a Hollingsworth in left there to make the grab.
So still 2 on, a chance for Pocock to get out without any damage done. But first she has to get past Savannah Hebner.
Always a difficult task. Hebner third on the team, the senior from Colorado.
Finally took that hair pick out of her belt after she had seen all of her Saturday morning appointments.
Versatile, multi-talented, the senior with a 286 average. A chance here to put the visitors on top.
Thought about pulling the trigger there. Ups the bat back.
Patient at the plate, the rise ball just coming out of the zone.
When it's not a game day, you can see Savannah on her moped going around campus.
Ebner able to fight it off the hands. 2-2 count. That's 14 runs batted in.
And she's the outlier, being from Colorado on this roster. Not just Texas natives, but a lot of Houston area products filling the starting lineup. That time will go down swinging. Sam Pocock will strand 2 Cougars after the first half of the first inning. Tulsa still even with Houston. We'll bring their bats to the plate when we come back.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
Or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
the American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Well, the Cougars up until recently had 4 pitchers they were confident in, and recently talking to Kristen Vesley, I think that number is up to 5 pitchers that they have a lot of faith in, but it is Presley Bell who gets the start today, and the senior for good reason at 7-2, the 1.14 ERA.
Bell, the 5'10 senior righty out of Liberty, Texas from Dayton High School, 1.14 ERA, 7-2 record, as you mentioned, 61 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 41 hits, walked 16, struck out 39. Batters averaging just 182 against Bell.
I mean, that ERA was even stingier going into that opening weekend against USF, where it was a sub-1 ERA. She was one of the top 4 in the nation. Meanwhile, now she's going to see in the leadoff spot one of the more accomplished hitters in Tulsa's history, and Julia Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth playing for an Ennis program that's seen a lot of success down there in Texas. The senior now in her final campaign, last 2 years, first team all-conference. And as good as Jill Barrett was recently, everybody's expecting that Barrett's going to go from first on a lot of career lists to second by the end of this year.
Now, Hollingsworth, so talented, entered the week leading the American in batting average at .440. He's reset so many records and more to fall in her Golden Hurricane career.
Cougars were unable to give Bell a lead to work with here in the bottom of the first, despite getting their leadoff hitter on and subsequently 2 on with 1 out, with Strand of pair when it's all said and done. Bell eager to work quickly here against Hollingsworth. Not getting any help, now 2-2.
Hollingsworth, 2-time all-conference first-team selection, 2-time all-region pick as well.
Count goes full.
Houston left 2 stranded in their first at bat. Able to get the leadoff batter aboard. We'll see if Tulsa can follow suit.
Payoff pitch will miss. It's a leadoff walk for Hollingsworth.
Hollingsworth patient at the plate. Just a good hitter. Will not swing at anything outside of the zone.
That'll bring up the second-team all-conference outfielder Michaela Witten from a year ago, the Shawnee, Oklahoma native, now in her junior campaign.
Witten a .247 average, 20 hits and 81 at-bats this year.
She's been responding well to Coach Barfeld's request. Throw down will get in the outfield, and that's an extra 60 feet for Hollingsworth. After the leadoff walk, 1 pitch later, she is 60 feet away from giving Tulsa a lead.
Hollingsworth doing a great job now, 8 for 10 in stolen bases on the year. Takes advantage, and the ball that trickles into the outfield, able to put her at third.
Now a wild pitch or a pass ball may bring that go-ahead run home. Let's see what Witten has in mind. That's got to change her approach. You're talking about her numbers. John Barfeld challenged her to be more of an on-base percentage person this year. She has responded. Settling into the 2-hole in this lineup. On deck is Morgan Neal. Shanice Dels, the DP today, in the hole.
Task for Witten clear, able to trying to move Hollingsworth in, but finds herself behind in the count.
In on the handle. Just a swing and self-defense.
Witten defending herself more than anything in that pitch. Nicely done, Hollingsworth, the leadoff walk, and now 60 feet away. Can Tulsa take advantage and plate the first run?
And that's Brooke Vinoy back behind home plate. She's made every start of her career, of course, as a freshman. A lot of that was as a shortstop. These days, your backstop for the Cougars. That's saying quite a bit, especially when you have double headers. With that said, they are looking, I think, at what kind of depth they might have moving forward at catcher, and may try to get Brooke back into the field just to help her out a little bit. We're not going to pretend a 22-year-old is kind of borderline on arthritis, but John Barfeld, meanwhile, flirting with a decade and a half at the helm of this Tulsa program. Back in February, picked up win number 500. All 10 trips to the NCAA tournament for Tulsa have been under John's guidance. That foul ball will mean the runner has to go back to third.
And what a difference under his tutelage here at the program. Previous to him, they had just 4 winning seasons in 13 years. They did not win a conference title or appear in the NCAA regionals. That has turned around.
Well, he thought this might be a down year. Mind you, again, Tulsa right now is 7-1 in conference, but it's a group that 9 new players out of 17 on your roster. 5 seniors. But ultimately, and he didn't think they were really tested this fall with great competition overall, so he didn't know what he truly had until the season rolled around. But he's pretty pleased with how things are developing.
Indeed, some of these young players really coming of age early. Always a guess of how they're going to adjust and how quickly they'll adjust to the collegiate game.
Meanwhile, we talk about those seniors. Morgan Neal is one of them. She's a 3-time champion now in the American. She is all 3 years been on the all-tournament team after those championships, and yet never received a postseason honor in the American. Somehow has slipped through the cracks each and every year. This one is going to create an interesting disposition, and they'll get Hollingsworth off. What a big gaffe there by Tulsa, and it's a double play. So you talk about a runner on third initially in this ball game with nobody out. 3 batters later, 3 outs later, as Tulsa runs themselves out of the inning. And a heads-up decision by Bell. It starts with Hollingsworth for out number 2. And then Neal trying to take second. Instead, we are scoreless after 1, and it gives us another chance to check back in with Bruce.
Hey, guys, Julia Hollingsworth, obviously one of the great hitters in University of Tulsa history, but she's also up on her pop culture. I don't know if you are familiar with the kids' song Baby Shark, but it is it's something big for the kiddos. And Julia Hollingsworth was actually at first base in a recent game against Memphis. There was a pitching change, and on the PA, they played the song Baby Shark. And all of a sudden, Julia starts going through all the mechanisms that you see on the kids' show, and she knew them all. She knew the baby shark and the daddy shark and the mama shark and even the grandpa and grandma shark. So she went through all of that, and I don't think she really knew she was being taped at the time as she was having fun with her teammates in the dugout. But no doubt about it, she knew everything there was to know about Baby Shark. And I asked her, well, do you have a niece or a nephew or somebody that you babysit? And she goes, no, it's just something that's gone viral. Baby Shark, by the way, is in the Billboard Top 100 right now. And Elvis Andrus, the Texas Rangers fine infielder, uses it as his walk-up music. And he said, hey, I had a home run the first time. It ain't going anywhere. Baby Shark is going to be my walk-up music from now until he starts hitting poorly, I guess. So Baby Shark was a big part of softball here at TU a couple of weeks ago.
Bruce, thank you very much. No doubt that Emmy is in the mail. If you ever have a kid hop in their car, first thing they're going to ask you to do is, can you turn on Baby Shark? And that would be great disappointment if you don't have access to it. Saw a lot of the young fans in pink coming out to support the Golden Hurricane. So what a break for Houston there after that first inning, as we are still scoreless somehow.
Exactly. Indeed the case. Houston backs against the wall, but able to come up with a double play to end the inning, remain scoreless.
This is Maya Thomas, yet another one of those Houston area products. Last year's second team all-conference. All 3 years of her career, she's received conference honors. She's out of Sugar Land, just southwest of Houston.
Thomas, a .286 average.
Saw the mindset there. Her batting average is down due to, frequent bunt attempts, but she does have some pop in that bat.
And also great speed, a perfect 6 for 6 in stolen bases.
So Samantha Pocock probably thought she would have a lead to work with entering the second inning, as both teams squander leadoff runners, but a different story for Tulsa. Remember, Hollingsworth again was standing on third with nobody out. A couple batters later, get an out recorded and then a double play ball. Not your traditional double play ball, but a heads-up play from Presley Bell in the circle last half inning. And when you try to slap and you're falling away from the pitch, that's a tough one to handle, and Pocock gets her second strikeout victim early on.
And nicely done from Pocock there, the sophomore righty, her second strikeout in a row. Got one to end the first and one here to start the second. Thomas unable to locate the pitch.
Brings up Tiara Williams, the DP today.
Williams, a sophomore righty out of Humboldt, Atascocita.
Most important nugget we have on the team now that we're talking about this type of thing is she's the best dancer on the Cougars roster.
That's obviously the most important thing.
We have not seen her Baby Shark performance.
Williams, 209 average, 9 hits, 43 at bats. Does have 8 runs batted in. 3 home runs on the season.
She's in the 7th spot today. Aspen Howie on deck. Brooke Vinoy scheduled to bat 9th in this lineup. Again, Williams out of Humboldt, Texas, north of Houston. Went to Tascasita High School. Squaring off against the Nevada native Pocock. Just a sophomore. And filling that void left by Emily Watson these past few years. Tulsa, it doesn't seem fair. They've just had this chain of pitchers where one great steps up in for another one. That has helped them really in that conference tournament format be as successful as they have been. Off the end of the bat for Williams. Will hang up for Minan. No problem. 2 away.
Pocock, another in that great line of Golden Hurricane pitchers. And Tulsa's become the kind of place that players want to come, able to attract the top recruits. When you have success year after year, easy to do so.
Yeah, they want to come as long as that wind's blowing in. Good luck to any meteorologist who wants to be a reliable source of which direction the wind's going to blow.
Yeah, it'll change sometimes at the half inning.
Aspen Howie comes up with nobody on. Samantha Pocock hoping to work a quick half inning here.
Howie, the sophomore, 5'9" righty out of Austin from Lake Travis High School. 184 average.
Tulsa, before their 2 wins yesterday, had a rough outing against Kansas, and John Barfeld, I don't think, thought that was the worst thing. Just a little wake-up call for his Tulsa team that had been riding a high through conference with series victories against both USF and a sweep of Memphis. But he wanted, if you're going to suffer a loss, for it to happen in non-conference play against that Big 12 foe. Foul ball here from Howie.
That's exactly right. If you're going to take a loss, obviously you never want to, but so much better to do so in the non-conference. Each and every game important in the American.
Yeah, over the years, pitchers like Irwin, Still, Watson, now have all moved on. Pocock in the circle today. And a nice job by Howie, not biting on that one. Yeah, Coach Barfeld wasn't confident this would be another year of reloading, and yet they've done exactly that here early on.
When you have a program with the continued success, the players understand the bar is set so high, and they're always working to get to it.
Howie gets her bat around on it, just trying to extend this inning with Vinoy on deck.
Chance here for a 1-2-3 inning.
Payoff pitch will be playable. Won't get out of the infield, though, as Stafford hauls it in. That's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Samantha Pocock and Tulsa. They'll bring their bats back to the plate. Middle third of the lineup due up for the first time today.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story, so far.
It's this little quick.
Midway through the second inning, Lincoln Rose, Kit McConical with you here on the American Digital Network. Tulsa hosting Houston for this third and final game of the series. Another chance for us to check back in with Bruce.
I think so. I don't even know who the hell it is.
Well, guys, how important is this game to the two coaches? I think pretty important, because you don't see this very often, but in the first inning, you had both teams having pitchers in the bullpen warming up. Shanice Dels, who is normally a starter for Tulsa, was in the bullpen very early, and then this last half inning, Savannah Hebner was in the bullpen for Houston. So no question about it, John Barfeld of Tulsa, he wants the sweep, and obviously for Houston, they need a victory here in game number 3. Kind of unusual to see pitchers in the bullpen bullpen this early in the game. And the other interesting part is both of those two players, Dels and Huebner, they're both, playing the game as well in terms of, Huebner is out at first base, and then you have Dels, who is the DP, and she'll lead off this inning. So kind of interesting situation here early in this game.
Yeah, Bruce, great observation. Again, a couple of two-way players in the mix there as well. So Shanice Dels, speaking of the DP for Tulsa, she thought she certainly was coming up last inning. I was even going to make a caveat that barring an unconventional double play, she would come to the plate, and well, we wound up seeing that double play as Presley Bell got it started running down Hollingsworth. And then Neal would be retired after she initially reached on the fielder's choice. So nobody on here for Shanice.
Talented freshman out of Oklahoma City.
This is going to stay within the field of play for Maya Thomas, 1-0.
Good work there, getting Dels to fly out to right.
Yeah, obviously, if you have relief pitchers warming up early, you're expecting a lower scoring affair. We saw both varieties of contest yesterday.
And that first game, the 10-6 victory for Tulsa, combined 20 hits. Houston not doing themselves any favors in the second game, a 3-1 loss as they committed 5 errors.
Haley Minen brings the bat to the plate for the first time today for Tulsa. Second team all-conference. She's out of Houston. Started her career over at Arkansas. Of course, she'll have a chance to go home for the conference tournament. The Cougars are hosting it this year.
Senior with a .222 average.
Last year, everybody ventured over to Tampa, where the Bulls were the host. Minen, we talked about the loss against Kansas, but she had some good at-bats there. That's helped carry into the weekend for her. And senior goes down swinging, though, against Bell.
A good pitch, chased it low and away. Bell, great placement, comes up with her second strikeout. That one just tailing outside. Minen unable to lay off it.
Brings up the sixth spot, Sarah Bryers. She, too, out of the Houston area from Spring, Texas. Snagged by Huebner, one pitch, all it takes, and Presley Bell might be back on schedule with the pitch count there. A quick second inning. Already 2 in the books here in Tulsa. Moving on in Game 3 to the top of the third.
Scores 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate the second championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Powerful minds, strong in mind,
strong in body.
The American is dedicated
to promoting success
through a healthy, powerful mind.
If it is okay to seek help
for injuries we can see, then it needs to be okay
to seek help for injuries
we can't see.
Mental health awareness is important because I think a lot of times it goes unnoticed in college athletics.
We look after our bodies, and it's just as important to look after our mental health.
It's time to end the stigma
related to mental health
and seeking help.
End the stigma.
Busy running camera there now.
Softball on the American Digital Network this afternoon. Game 3 between the Cougars and the Golden Hurricane. Well, Tulsa, a little pressure off of them in terms of they know they are already taking the series, but they know it's going to be a tight race here in the league this year. It always is. And if you can get a sweep of Houston, mind you, Houston received a first-place vote. It was from John Barfeld, head coach at Tulsa. You can't vote for your own team. Doesn't mean he would have, but he had high expectations for Houston. Why wouldn't you? Because all the great pitching they do have available to them this year.
He understands the capabilities of this Cougars side. A team that desperately wants to at least get one game here on the road in Oklahoma.
Brooke Vinoy, the number 9 hitter. Your catcher once again for your Houston pitchers. She's been doing a great job juggling all the talented Houston pitchers this year.
Senior out of Sugar Land, George Ranch High School. An only 205 average.
Over 200 starts now in her career. Left side, Perry. Second straight inning, Tulsa able to get the first Cougar off the base paths.
It's so important to pick up that first out, not let the leadoff batter get aboard. Strikeout of Thomas in the second, then Benoit grounds out to third to start the third.
We're back to Sarah Barker. She led off with a single. A nice pitch right down the middle. As Barker keeps the bat on her shoulders.
Barker able to line one right through the circle, her first at bat. A lone hit thus far for the Cougars.
Now Barker already has a championship ring, but it's not a conference championship, it's a world championship when she was part of the Astros overall staff a couple years ago. Everybody in the organization getting a ring. Had herself a nice internship. She would just assume have one with a little more red on it. Gets the bat around on this one. It'll get down. Another base hit, looking for extra bases. It's a double for Barker, 2 for 2 today.
Great work for Barker. Put it along the line down right field. Able to place it in front of Minot. And then quickly, you see her always headed for second. A great round of first and slides in safely. Good speed to make it a double.
So for the second time today, Sarah is standing on second base. She would be stranded there 2 innings ago. Here's Lindsey Stewart 0 for 1 today with a fly out to right.
Cougars have already left 2 stranded. They need to take advantage.
And one pitch, Pocock welcomes that as Witten down in center, able to handle it for out number 2.
Stewart's second time she's flied out in as many at-bats. Just letting Pocock off the hook there.
So here's Ariel James. She walked in the first inning, would be stranded. 1 of 2 left on. Trying to avoid stranding Sarah Barker right there on the left side of your screen.
Junior back in her home state, looking to make something happen.
James gets around on it. Cougars are going to strike first here in Tulsa. A 2-out RBI single for Ariel James.
And James, the Oklahoma native, comes up with the first run of the game, able to take this one to left center. Witten just unable to range over to it and in to score.
Yeah, with 2 outs, the runner going on contact, able to score from second. Barker is in, and here's Sarah Queen. 0 for 1 with a fly out to left. We saw some pop in her bat against USF.
We mentioned it. Good stat for Houston, 19-3 when scoring first.
Hit both of her home runs in the same ball game. Game 1 of that series against the Bulls. Bulls would still wind up taking it.
Great pitch there, Pocock, the changeup. Able to find the zone to even the count.
Pocock again, 2 outs. Just trying to get out of this inning with only that 1 run.
Always interesting to see how pitchers respond after giving up the first run. They're able to come back and pick up that next out.
I like the way Christian Vesley summed up their approach at the plate. They're not just going to sit there forever waiting for the perfect pitch. She wants them to be aggressive. The phrase is, we're not there trying to find a spouse. We're not there trying to get to know every intricacy of the at-bat. We want to be up there, be aggressive, and sometimes that means swinging early.
Aggressive was the term she used over and over.
This will hang up. Breyer's able to squeeze it in, but not before. Ariel James drives in Sarah Barker. The 2-out RBI base hit has the Cougars on the road up by 1 as we move on to the home half of the third inning.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together. So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Fans making their way in, not just to cheer on the Golden Hurricane, but some Houston fans as well. We mentioned you've got some Houston players from the Sooner State. Right now, Cougars with a 1-run advantage. Home half of the third inning now as Alexis Perry steps up to the plate for the first time today. Presley Bell still working her way through the Tulsa lineup for the first time. Golden Hurricanes still looking for their first base hit today.
Bottom of the order due up for Tulsa. Perry, junior from Oklahoma City, leading things off in the 7th spot.
Just off the mark, it'll be Perry, followed by Riley Spell and Tori Stafford. And back to Julia Hollingsworth, if anybody can reach.
Perry, a 180 average.
That pitch just about an inch from where it was on the first offering, and that's an inch good enough to make it a strike.
Perry, 16 hits, 89 at bats, has 17 runs batted in.
You know, Perry's in the 7-hole here. She'll push this one out towards right. That is a foul ball. Going into this year, John Barfelt really expected that Alexis would actually be right in the heart of this lineup. When they had their January scrimmages right before the start of the season, she was phenomenal. But a slow start on offense, maybe some of that is on defense. She was new to third base and just a lot of adjustments to be made. But somehow Tulsa's still finding success, and when Perry starts to find her rhythm during the season, it's going to be, again, a tough out. Queen is unable to recover.
Good work there. Perry quickly out of the box and down the line, safe at first. Queen bobbled it. By the time she got the throw, Perry safe at first to lead off.
And that is officially an error on Queen, her third base counterpart. Here's Riley Spell.
Spell, the senior, another Houston native out of Pearland High School.
Just south of Houston. Last year's Defensive Player of the Year when she was a junior catcher. Now her final year is the backstop. Had arm surgery over the summer and has been looking pretty good this year. In fact, you know, umpires are neutral, but she's she's gotten a few compliments. John Barfelt says that he'll hear from umpires. Today's home plate umpire is Troy Kuykendall. Is obviously the umpire's best friend is a good catcher in front of them, framing that strike zone, giving them a good view, and also minimizing how many pitches wind up dinging the men in blue. Right now it's Brooke Vinoy winning some admiration of Troy Kuykendall.
Spell batting .229, 14 runs batted in, 2 home runs.
That one out of play, foul. Nobody out. Alexis Perry reached on the infield miscue. She's your runner on first.
You mentioned the relationship there between catchers and home plate umpires, both in the line of fire.
First base umpire is Anthony Williams. John Williams, no relation, over on third. Push right side, it'll get through. And even as it slowly got through, Alexis Perry had to quickly determine would that be a line drive out, in which case she'd need to get back to the bag. Still managed to get down to second. Also didn't want to get hit by the ball.
Perry ducking underneath that one.
Would have been a tough ruling because the ball already got past Hebner defensively. Not sure if Perry would have been automatically out and had the ball hit her as a result.
Tulsa.
It's a moot point now.
Yeah, Tulsa in business here. The bottom of the third, the first two batters able to get aboard.
Your first hit of the ball game comes from Spell. Here's Tori Stafford out of the 9-hole.
Stafford, the senior from Arkansas.
All-tournament team last year in that championship run in Tampa. Again, Tulsa would go on to the Norman Regional, while we saw the Cougars go to the LSU Regional. Softball, high expectations of getting at least 4 teams in the NCAA tournament this year. And they're just going to get the lead runner, I believe. As that fielder's choice, Stafford is safe at the bag, so you'll have runners on the corners. Perry, you see, does advance to third.
And able to get the double play there. Does pick up the second out of the inning. The first time.
James with the heads-up play, able to make the tag. Compliments the Spell, though, for slowing down to making it a tougher double play to turn rather than running right into it. And that's possibly the difference between having 1 or 2 outs.
I give all the credit to Spell. Knew what she was doing in that situation. Now back to the top of the order with the big bat. Hollingsworth up to bat, just 1 away, and runners on the corners.
Kristen Vesley's going to come out to the circle. Let's see what she has in mind. Part of this is going to be because of how dangerous Hollingsworth is. Kristen Vesley, again, a 2-time All-American here in Oklahoma for the Sooners. Meanwhile, everybody on her staff, the minimum requirement is to be a 3-time All-American with Megan and Jessica. Kristen Vesley certainly is mindful that the wind can play a lot of tricks on you here north of the Red River.
That's something she was talking about, depending upon where the wind is blowing. Depend a lot on the pitcher's thrown. Then that wind can shift on a dime. You'll have it blowing in, blowing out, across. All that in the course of just 1 inning.
Was the first Okie for many generations of Texans.
So Presley Bell, after facing the lineup once, will remain in to see Hollingsworth for a second time. Remember, she walked Hollingsworth back in the first inning. A couple pitches later, Hollingsworth found herself standing on third. Will there be reason for a Baby Shark celebration? We're still waiting on our 5th inning report on the Macarena.
15 runs batted in. Hollingsworth, great chance to add to it. Draw Tulsa even. Tying a run just 60 feet away.
Again, Julia hitting .427, the best clip on either team. Making her 35th start. One homer, total of 8 extra base hits. 4th batter to come up this inning. 2 of them are running the bases right now. Perry on third, Stafford on first. The only individual with a base hit, Riley Spell, was out in the field.
Good work there, Hollingsworth not chasing it outside. Well, trying to get her to bite.
One of 5 seniors in this lineup goes chasing, gets a piece of it.
Hollingsworth going low in the zone, just enough to stay alive. Big at bat here for both teams.
Cougars last year tied for 2nd in the conference with that 13-8 mark. But there's just something about once the conference tournament rolls around, Tulsa, again, in such a challenging conference, for you to win that tournament 3 straight years, it has been all about pitching. And frankly, Hollingsworth, it seemed like every game that she came up in that tournament would give them a lead. Line out to left. but it's going to be good enough for a sacrifice to bring Perry home. So Alexis Perry, remember, who reached on the air in the infield, comes home for an unearned run to tie this ball game up.
Yeah, good stuff there. Able to get enough underneath it. Did Hollingsworth, shows off the power. Perry in from third. Tied at 1. Even when Hollingsworth unable to come up with a base hit, still makes an impact.
So trading out for a run. Here's Michaela Witten with 2 away. First pitch. That's going to get down, but they get the force. A little bit of good fortune there for the Cougars defense. But 1 pitch too late. Julia Hollingsworth has tied this one up, bringing home Alexis Perry on the sac fly. 3 innings in the books, and it's a brand new ball game.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American, power for life.
Well, the Cougars this year are 20-3 when they score first, but one of those 3 losses came yesterday, and Tulsa has already erased another early Cougar lead. And a surprise source, I should say not a surprise source, Hollingsworth with the sac fly. Vanna Hebner will try to reestablish a lead here for the Cougars, batting 5th today, followed by Maya Thomas and Tiara Williams. They were combined 0 for 3 the first time through against Pocock with a pair of strikeouts.
We'll see if the heart of the order for Houston can make the adjustment. Second time seeing Samantha Pocock able to get ahead. Tulsa with one of their own to even things up. Houston missed opportunities in game 2 yesterday, falling 3-1. Looking to remedy things, hoping to pick up at least 1 win in this 3-game series.
Again, we came into today, UCF at 7-0, Tulsa at 7-1. And then 1 game back, USF at 5-2. As Hebner just a deep fly, out number 1.
Hebner, who's batting .611 as the leadoff batter, unable to get aboard. Right to Witten, ranging over to her left for the first out.
That Knights program over in Orlando, an 11-game winning streak right now. And that's put pressure on Tulsa to try to be greedy and get a sweep today just to stay in that hunt. Thomas could be trouble, but able to come in. Minen 2 away.
Well read by the right fielder. Haley Minen saw that one coming off the barrel of the bat. Thomas, who struck out swinging to lead off the second, able to get aboard here in the 4th.
So that'll put the burden on Tiara Williams to prolong this inning. She flied out to right, back in the 2nd. Comes up with nobody on, 2 away.
Cougars went down in order in the 2nd. Chance for Tulsa to retire them in order again.
Both teams scoring in that 3rd inning. After both teams squandering opportunities in the 1st. See which program can inch ahead here. Pocock able to even the count 1-1.
Pocock battling back after the first pitch. He threw low and away, just outside the zone. You've seen that from Pocock. Good pitchers, anytime they throw a ball or anytime they give up a hit. The next pitch, the next at bat.
Perry showing off her leather. 3 up, 3 down is how Pocock responds after Tulsa ties it up last half inning. Golden Hurricane now poised to possibly take their first lead of the day.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story, so far.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
Be smarter and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
One of that thing called money.
Welcome back to Tulsa as the Golden Hurricane hosting the Cougars. They squeezed in a second game yesterday to try to avoid playing tomorrow with concerns of weather. And so as a result, this is game 3 here on the American Digital Network. Tulsa with the sweep yesterday. A high-scoring affair and a low-scoring affair today. A little bit of a pitcher's duel. Both starting pitchers still going strong. Presley Bell working her way through the Tulsa lineup for a second time. Here's Morgan Neal. Reached on that fielder's choice, but ultimately would be the final out on a double play. Back in the first inning.
All runs coming in the third. Houston able to get on top, and a quick response from Tulsa. See if they can take the lead here with 3, 4, and 5 batters due up.
And I'm actually doing a lot of more promo stuff too. So.
Neal batting .353 as the leadoff batter.
Off the barrel. Again, the balls are not carrying today. Much to the relief of the pitchers. As Barker able to squeeze that one in, no problem.
Another hard hit ball to the outfield. No trouble, Barker there in deep left.
Denise Dels wondering, where's this lack of wind when I'm pitching? She flied out to right back in the second when she led off that inning.
Also 421 on base percentage. Quick 2-0 count. Dels has drawn 9 walks this season. Finds herself ahead in the count, 3-0.
See what she has in mind here. Haley Minen's on deck. And Bell able to get the strike.
Dels taking the whole way as you imagine she would with a 3-0 count.
Yeah, Presley Bell, before conference play came around, only allowed 4 extra base hits all non-conference season. Howie. 2 up, 2 down.
Also slow roller, no trouble from Aspen Howie at short.
Past 4 Tulsa hitters have been retired by Presley Bell and the defense behind her.
Cougars retired in order in the top of the order, looking to do the same to Tulsa here in the bottom.
And we're back to the Houston native, Haley Minen.
She's
He's been great defensively in the outfield this year. Mentioned has started to have some good at-bats, including against Kansas midweek. 2-time second-team All-Conference, All-Tournament team last year. Again, if you are not a freshman on this Tulsa roster, then you've already got at least one championship, and you don't know anything other than winning championships when the conference tournament rolls around.
Yeah, those 7 returning starters, the success they've been able to have in that conference tournament, 3 in a row.
And of course, with that, automatic bids to the NCAA tournament.
It's such a difficult thing to do. It's one thing to have success in a season, maybe 2, but to have that long-term, long-standing, sustained success that Tulsa's had. Good pitch, count full now to Meiden.
Struck out swinging back in the second against Bell. As head coach John Barfelt looks on. Slow roller left side. Somebody's got to cover that bag. Now, miscommunication in the infield on what should have been out number 3.
That's exactly right. Hebner, who went in front of James. James slow to get over to first. Should have been there to cover. The result, Meiden safely aboard with 2 down. Against a team like Tulsa, you cannot give them base runners, certainly when there's a chance to pick up an out.
That'll be an infield-based hit for Meiden. That means Sarah Bryers gets to come up here in the 4th inning. Do they have a 2-out rally in them?
Sophomore, another Greater Houston area product. You know, she relishes playing the Cougars.
You can count on Bryers being on the left side of the infield. Right, of course, right now, shortstop. Also seen her at the hot corner as well. She and Alexis Perry have taken turns over there at third. And a couple pitches later, no damage done as able to retire Bryers. Tulsa will strand a runner, and we remain even. 4 complete on this 3rd and final matchup of the regular season between the Cougars and the Golden Hurricane.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives. Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Both starting pitchers still going strong in this one, already in the top of the 5th. Sarah Pocock back in the circle, and it's the 8-9 and top spot of the order 2 up for Houston. Aspen Howie for a 2nd time today, seeing Sam.
Houston 1 run on 3 hits. They've left 3 stranded. It's also 1 run on 2 hits. They've left 2 aboard.
Last year, Aspen part of the all-rookie squad. She's out of Austin, Texas's Lake Travis High School. That's the same school that produced Baker Mayfield. He never had much of a softball career there. He did play for the baseball team, led them to the state tournament his senior year.
Lake Travis, a powerhouse in Central Texas and in the Lone Star State in general, and pretty much every athletic endeavor.
Howie out of the 8 spot, able to whip the bat around on that one.
Batting 311, 429 in the leadoff spot is Howie.
So Howie with Benoit on deck. In the top of the order, Barker. See if Aspen can set the table here. 0 for 1 today.
Great pitch there, finds that outside corner. Howie thought it was just a ball off, maybe in the river. Called a strike. Excellent location from Pocop.
Cougars 1 run on 3 hits. Tulsa 1 run on 2 hits. This ball, though, starting to carry, could get interesting, but it's going to die down into the glove of Witten for a long out number 1.
The wind, again, generally blowing out hard. Today, just a soft breeze, and there have been a lot of sharply hit balls to the outfield. Got to think any other day would be home runs, but not the case.
Back to Benoit. Everybody coming in. And that ball is caught. But some concern. You had Witten, Neal, and Briers all coming together. Right now, that's Morgan Neal, your senior second baseman, with the concern.
You see it right here. Everyone all coming together in a huge collision. Neal taking the brunt of it.
She's holding the midsection. It looked like they almost knocked knees as well.
That's a play that Witten has to call off the infielders that are backtracking sooner. 9 times out of 10, that's an easier play for the center fielder to make coming forward, but just not soon enough calling off Briers and Neal.
And you certainly hope that that was just a scare as opposed to anything serious. And she had already backed off, but could not avoid the collision with Briers.
Yeah, the senior from Springdale, Arkansas, good to see a smile on her face.
You'll see her plant a foot, maybe knock her right knee with Briers, but also maybe take a shot you see there on the hip.
Yeah, it looked like she took a shot to the midsection at the end of that.
But you're happy to see the smile taking over for the tears.
Well, that's a good sign, and just readjusting herself, taking a deep breath, and appears that she's ready to continue.
Again, one of the more underrated players in this conference during her career. We mentioned every year performs in the tournament, all-tournament team. See if this year's the year that she gets those postseason accolades as well. And Coach Barfeld's not going to have to make any adjustments in the middle of his infield.
Oh, that's good. A stalwart at second base. You would hate to lose her.
So 2 outs as Benoit comes the second straight Cougar to fly out towards center.
Next up, Sarah Barker.
Back to Sarah Barker, top of the order. She has 2 of the Cougars' 3 hits today, a single and a double. She is the only Cougar to touch home today.
Barker looking to make something happen. Cougars in danger of going in order for the second consecutive inning.
Usually it's the lineup that third time around has the advantage on a pitcher. Well, Barker already has 2 hits. Maybe it's Pocop's turn to make the adjustment.
Just unable to lay that bunt down high in the zone.
Barker in the outfield these days, former middle infielder for Kristen Vesley. Coach calls her extremely coachable.
Batting .444 with 2 outs.
Trying to extend the inning. That pitch just above the letters.
And just out of the zone. Barker doing a good job not chasing it.
You see the pitch count for Pocock. Most of those pitches came in the first and third innings. She faced 5 in the first, 5 more in the third. Otherwise, has faced the minimum in the other 2 frames.
Pocock has been very efficient in the last few innings. Not quite sure where that last pitch missed.
The 3-1 to Barker. And the count goes full. Lindsey Stewart's on deck. Ariel James in the hole. If they can get a 2-out rally going. Otherwise, for Tulsa, at the bottom of your lineup, coming up, as well as Julia Hollingsworth. Payoff pitch from Pocock. Barker able to extend the bat. Can she beat out the throw? Just in time, and again, you're thankful you have Morgan Neal still in the ballgame. Able to get it to Stafford. It is a 3-up, 3-down inning to keep us tied in Tulsa. You're watching American Softball here on the American Digital Network.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
Be smarter and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Both teams here in the American able to strike for their lone run back in the third inning. Cougars with the advantage. Tulsa able to answer it. As John Barfeld's Golden Hurricane trying to find their first lead of the day. We talk about Kristen Vesley's great staff. Obviously, Coach Barfeld's got a good one, and former Tulsa standout Chrissy Strimple now for the past 12 years. You have this great consistency on the coaching staff.
Yeah, when you're able to keep an assistant for 12 years, consistency, that is an understatement. You have that kind of staff, your head coach for 13, your assistant for 12. Both really love Tulsa, what they've created here.
Here is Alexis Perry. She reached and scored back in the third inning. Remember, reached on an infield error. And Tulsa was able to capitalize eventually when Julia Hollingsworth had a sac fly out to left.
Bottom of the order for Tulsa. They led things off in the third when the Golden Hurricane were able to plate their run.
Perry yesterday 1 for 5 at the plate, along with an RBI. No RBI here, right back to the pitcher, Bell. You know, all these Houston pitchers can really field the circle. When it's Hebner, she's an old shortstop back in her travel ball days. Of course, now playing at first. We've seen Bell and Melanson with some nifty snags as well.
What a luxury that is to have a pitcher who's able to field their position so effectively. Bell, no issues there. Able to snag that one, an easy toss over to first. Combined, these two teams just 5 hits thus far, 3 for Houston, 2 for Tulsa.
Here's Riley Spell, base hit back in the third inning. 1 for 1 today. Everybody in this bottom third of the lineup had a chance to run the bases back in the third. Talk about the mindset of the Houston bats at the plate for Tulsa. John Barfelt just talked about, look, if you go to the plate, you need to have a plan. We're going to go through our scouting report. You need to be up there with a purpose.
You need to know what pitches you want to swing at, which ones to lay off. Each batter different. The zones, some higher, some's lower. There's a custom-tailored plan to each Golden Hurricane batter.
Tulsa's only loss was the opener in Tampa. John Barfelt had to remind them, I know the weather's amazing here, but this is a business trip. They made the adjustments against Ken's group. We talked to Coach Erickson. He even mentioned Tulsa made great adjustments, took Saturday and Sunday's games, and swept Memphis, coming back from some deficits. Another infield miscue with one out is going to put Spell on base. Remember, she barely got one through the infield back in the third inning for the base hit.
Spell sharply hit over to short. Howie unable to field it cleanly. Got the throw off, but not online and not in time. I'll see
that is going to be an E6 on Aspen Howie.
If the home team can take their first lead of the ball game.
Riley doesn't care how you score it. She gets to run the bases with one out. Here's Tori Stafford, and that improves the likelihood of Hollingsworth coming up this inning.
Hey, shake it forward. Here we go, baby.
Stafford, chance for two to get out of the inning. And the Cougars erase the runner and get out of the fifth. No damage done. We are still tied. One run apiece.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further, let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express, every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
A big save, a clutch hit.
Or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Well, Samantha Pocomp's retired the last 7 Cougars she has faced. That dates back to the third inning when the lone run came home on the RBI base hit from Ariel James. That would score Sarah Barker. As a short-lived 1-0 lead, home half of that inning, Tulsa would answer with its lone strike so far. Lincoln Rose, Kip McConico, Bruce Howard with you here on the American Digital Network. Great to have you with us on this afternoon. Great to be able to squeeze in, we hope, at least 7 innings before any weather returns.
There for the time being, that impending inclement weather is held off. Fingers crossed that remains the case.
Lindsey Stewart batting .358 now on the year, slugging .508. Comes up 0 for 2 today, a couple of flyouts to right and to center.
2, 3, and 4 due up for the Cougars. Stewart, James, Queen. 453 in the leadoff spot. And with center fielder.
And she leads off an inning just shy of 500. But she's going to go 0 for 3 today to start.
Both these pitchers have been fantastic, inducing a lot of ground outs. A lot of pop outs and fly outs as well.
That's the trifecta for Lindsay, flying out to each member of the Tulsa outfield. She'll claim her prize on their way out of town. Here's Ariel James, a walk and an RBI single today. Make it 2 base hits. James, a bright spot in the lineup for the Cougars.
Fourth hit of the game for Houston. James takes the first pitch, wastes no time, sends it through the left side, past Briers at short. Houston has already left 3 runners on base. They need to take advantage of James at first.
That may be it for Samantha Pocock, as John Barfelt ready to make some adjustments. I say that may be it. That may be it for now for Samantha Pocock. She could always come back. As Cassidy Scott goes from DP to relief pitcher.
Scott comes on 3.47 ERA, record of 5-2, has 4 saves on the season, 66 2/3 innings pitched, given up 76 hits, has walked 14, struck out 32, 47 runs, batters averaging 268 against her.
Scott started her career over at Texas Tech, now a junior for the Golden Hurricane. And John Barfelt says that, I don't know if it's a full yin and yang type thing, but you know, you need energy in that dugout, and he'll admit he's not usually the source of that energy, an even-keeled guy, but it's helpful to have somebody like Cassidy who does bring that energy, fire up this team.
Junior righty out of Piedmont, Oklahoma, emotional leader, always pick up her team.
She faces the cleanup hitter, Sarah Queen, who is 0 for 2 today against Pocock with a flyout and a lineout. Queen comes up with 1 out, and Ariel James, the runner on first. Sarah Queen this year hitting .310 with runners on base. Batting average .275 overall on the year. First pitch she sees from Scott, off the mark. Again, Queen yesterday 2 for 7 with 2 runs batted in. Make it 3 runs batted in. And that's a free 60 feet for James, now in scoring position.
And Houston will gladly take it, came off the lip of the mid of spell. Houston, their lead very short-lived in the third. Spell just unable to collect that one. James now in scoring position for the Cougars.
Queen at the plate, Hebner on deck. They're combined 0 for 4 today. You can look at that 2 ways. They're struggling today or they're due. I think you never assume, if you're the defense, the former. Not tempting for Queen, a walk. Not the worst outcome, but it does put an extra runner on for Hebner.
Scott issues the walk, and the first batter she sees.
Sarah O'Brien, often the first base coach over there for Houston.
Now Hebner, 278 average, third on the team. 283 with the runners aboard. 344 with runners in scoring position.
Goes down and gets this one. And the Cougars are going to have bases loaded. Should be an infield single for Hebner. James on third, Queen on second. Hebner joins them. Cougars bases juice and just 1 out.
Hebner wastes no time, jumps on the first pitch. Scott thought she had it. Couldn't squeeze it into the glove. And Hebner safely at first to load the bases.
Sometimes your quick reactions are Too quick for your own good. Probably your defense has that behind you. Now let's see what Kristen Vesely has in mind. Go-ahead run is on third in the form of Ariel James. They are going to rule it an error on Scott. Again, Cougars aren't cared about the official scoring, as long as they can score. Pinch hitting for Maya Thomas. This is Sharice Wyatt, the sophomore out of the capital city of Texas.
Sophomore righty from Westwood High School here in North Austin. Wyatt, 297 average, 11 hits and 37 at bats. There's 11 runs batted in.
Nice confident pitch from Scott with bases loaded.
And Scott just blew that one by her.
Obviously, any wild pitch or pass ball may give Houston its second lead of the day. They would love to get a ground ball up the middle. Pitch inside.
Looking for that inside corner, just too far. And you see the pop on the pitches from Scott. Her best when she's going right at opposing batters.
Cougars 1 run on 4 hits today. Just 1 hit this inning, yet bases loaded. A walk and an error. This one's foul. Samantha Pocomp got the start. Cassidy Scott came in after the 1-out single from James. Facing now her third batter, the pinch hitter Wyatt. And Wyatt is going to be a couple feet off the mark from really coming through with a big pinch hit.
Oh, that was close, just about 16 inches to the right of the line. You see where this one drops. That would have brought in 2 for sure.
Tiara Williams is on deck. Aspen Howie in the hole. Bases loaded for Houston here with 1 away. The 1-2 to Wyatt. It goes through the wickets. They thought for sure they would have an out, force it home. Instead, 2 Cougars come home to score. Ariel James followed by Sarah Queen. And Sharice Wyatt comes in with the big pinch hit opportunity. Comes through just by putting the ball in play.
Sarah Bryers took her eye off it right through the legs underneath her glove. And that is a play she has to make. Instead of focusing on the ball, had an eye over to first. And Houston takes full advantage now, 3-1 Cougars.
You know, I don't know if she would have had the force at home in time. That's probably the internal debate that was going on in her head at the same time that that ball was getting past her. Whether she was going to be able to go home or just have to settle for first. And they are going to, I assume, reinsert Maya Thomas to run over there at first. That is the case. So Thomas re-enters. That is, of course, an error on the shortstop, Bryers. That means there's still only 1 out with 2 on. Hebner had to hold up at second. Thomas, your runner on first. Here for the DP, Tiara Williams, 0 for 2 today.
Biggest play of the game thus far. Routine play, Bryers unable to make it. As you said, maybe didn't have the throw home, but certainly had one across the diamond to first. Would have picked up an out for sure.
Well, it's an unearned run that'll be charged to Pocomp and another unearned run to Scott, but now Pocomp is on the hook for a loss at the moment, responsible for James's score. The 1-2 to Williams.
Williams fouls it off her foot, trying to walk it off. No way to sugarcoat it. That one hurts.
Yeah, you see the discomfort. Cougars have been happy to swing at some of those lower pitches, thinking they can sneak them through the left side. Cassidy Scott not in the mood for Baby Shark at the moment.
He's focused on picking up this second out and getting out of the inning, keeping it a 2-run game.
Push the right side, foul. Both teams scored once in the third. We've been even since then. Cougars are trying to salvage a game here on the road. They're probably one of the better teams to ever start 2-6 in conference play.
Good at bat from Williams. Continues to foul off pitches, waiting for something that she can put in play.
Still with 2 strikes here to Williams. Williams will poke one through. That'll be trouble. Hebner will try to score from second. And they say she did touch home, able to get around Spell. I'm not sure if Spell tagged her, but I don't know if Hebner, even with those long arms, was able to get a hand on the plate. But Williams comes through.
And one thing for sure, Tiara Williams does a great job, able to drop that one into right field. And Houston able to tack another run on.
Another unearned run as Hebner goes the full 120 feet from second. That puts Maya Thomas in your shot there on second in scoring position. Here's Aspen Howie trying to join in on the fun. Another look. Hebner with that long arm able to go wide. And the right hand is what was able to tag the plate.
And Spell just unable to get the tag to her. Hebner, great job running the bases there. A good slide outside of the reach of Spell.
Those are the perks of being 6 feet and the wingspan of a little better than that. And John Barfelt now wants to talk to his relief pitcher, Cassidy Scott, who's right now facing her 5th batter of the inning. She came in inheriting an out and a runner. Run has since scored, James, as has Queen and Hebner. Now, Thomas and Williams, your base runners. After Thomas re-entered. Well, Houston hasn't done anything significant really this inning. They're just putting the ball in play and forcing Tulsa to come up with an answer.
That's right. The biggest thing that's happened this inning, the error from the shortstop, Sarah Breyer, has allowed 2 Cougar runs to come in. That made it 3-1. Williams with the RBI single.
Howie. Will that be the end of the inning? No, just one out there recorded. Howie will reach safely on the fielder's choice. Tiara Williams heads back to the dugout on the force out. As Thomas on third, Howie on first.
Howie doing a good job making that a tough play at first. Neal just took a second to get it out of her glove and the flip over to Briers at second.
Sorry, I lost my viewfinder there.
Runners on the corners with 2 outs. And there is the final out. As Vinoy sees one pitch, Alexis Perry able to put it away, but not before the Cougars. With the first crooked number on the day, a 3 spot in the 6th. They lead by 3 heading into the home half of the 6th inning.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We've got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
Tulsa with the benefit of being the home team, of course, down to potentially its final 6 outs, however, trailing the Cougars now 4-1. Chance for us to check back in with Bruce Howard.
Hey guys, you mentioned this earlier. Savannah Hebner has that scooter, the moped that she uses on campus at the University of Houston. And, recently she had her hair dyed. She dyed it kind of strawberry blonde or orange. And can you imagine now the little scooter, and you have a tall, slender, athletic lady who's riding that around the campus of the University of Houston. I assume she uses a helmet, so that orange hair flowing out of the back, that's got to be a sight on the campus of Houston. If you're there and you see some lady like that, it's probably Savannah Hebner. Another note on, you mentioned earlier Sarah Barker getting that ring from the Houston Astros in 2017 as a result of being involved in the customer service area with the Houston Astros. Another player who is definitely a Houston Astros fan is Sarah Bryers from Spring, Texas, which is north of Houston. She's on the Tulsa team, and she says her biggest athletic thrill is actually watching the Houston Astros win it in 2017.
Yes. Thank you, Bruce. She went to Klein Oak High School, and this generation of Houston natives have it pretty good compared to the multiple generations before them in terms of Houston sports fans. Back then, Mike Scott, Glenn Davis was about as good as it was going to get with Cruz and company. As good as those teams were, came up pretty short of winning the World Championship on the National League side of things.
So many Houstonians, a dream fulfilled. The Astros coming up with that World Series.
Don't even try to explain who the Oilers were. So here's Julia Hollingsworth, denied a chance to come up with runners on last inning due to yet another double play turned. So Presley Bell's gotten some nice defense to erase some base runners, and then of course she sits in the dugout and watches last half inning unfold when 7, make it 8 Cougars came to the plate. Ultimately 3 of them would score. Hollingsworth today, a walk and a sacrifice fly for the lone RBI today for Tulsa.
Bell pitching with her largest lead of the game. Houston just 6 outs away from picking up this Game 3 victory, but it's going to be a difficult 6 outs.
Hollingsworth, Witten, and Neal. Julia pokes this one out towards left. Down by 3, she'll trim it to a 2-run deficit. Julia Hollingsworth able to conquer that left field wall today here in Game 3.
Hollingsworth, just her 2nd home run of the season, and that one didn't even look like she got all of it. Just shows her power there. Able to muscle it out over the left field wall. Hollingsworth takes it out of the zone.
Responsible for both runs batted in today.
Exactly the response Tulsa needed. Now they've cut it to a 2-run game.
See that wind starting to blow out towards left now. Just the 3rd hit today for Tulsa. See the pitch count for Presley Bell. Witten 0 for 2 today against Bell. I mentioned that 3rd time through the lineup, though. You'll have to see a coach consider making a change. As the batters start to make adjustments, Hollingsworth didn't need to make adjustments. She's swung well today. Witten at the plate, Morgan Neal on deck, a combined 0 for 4 so far today.
We'll see if the solo shot to lead off the inning from Hollingsworth sparks the Tulsa bats.
Now towards right, Thomas comes in, able to make the squeeze. Again, she re-entered the ball game after being pinch hit for. She would run the bases.
Nicely done by Maya Thomas. Read it well. Senior out of Fort Bend Austin High School, another greater Houston area product. That's a difficult play. Comes up with the 1st out.
It's one of the countless schools in that Sugarland area. When we use the phrase greater Houston area, we're talking about what, Mississippi and Alabama combined?
I believe he goes to Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. This one pushed out towards left. Going to hang up and squeezed in by Barker.
And a good response from Bell after giving up the leadoff home run to Hollingsworth, able to get a pair of flyouts for the first 2 outs of the inning.
Shanice Dells today, a fly out to right, ground out to left side. Just off the mark there. Tulsa essentially down to its final 4 outs. 1 remaining here in the 6th.
Dells batting .435 with 2 outs. See if she can come up with a hit.
Yeah, that's such a interesting number. Hitting that well with 2 outs. You'd almost think she'd be disappointed when teammates in front of her get on base.
Yeah, just a .318 average overall.
And 0 for 2 today. Julia Hollingsworth with a solo shot to lead off this inning. Already has trimmed the deficit down to 2. And it's Presley Bell trying to get back on the winning track here. Both pitchers in game 2 went the distance. We know that's not the case for Tulsa today. See if Bell will be able to go the entirety of this one. Again, in softball, it's one thing if you have 2 great pitchers. A doubleheader, you don't have to have one go the distance in both games. Then it's another thing to have a 3rd quality starter, but Houston this year has had 4 pitchers. Kristen Vesely doesn't tend to tell them until 2 hours before the game who is going to wind up getting the start because she's still playing it all out in her mind. But as of late, even a 5th pitcher has emerged. And when you talk about Rachel Hertenberger, a freshman out of the backyard of Nolan Ryan there in Alvin, Texas. Right now, tying runs about to come up to the plate, though, for Tulsa. With Haley Minen coming up, Shanice Dells is going to be run for as they bring in Madison Moore, a freshman.
And Coach Vesely says she names that starting pitcher really on her gut feeling. An embarrassment of riches in the circle for Houston. She waits until about 2 hours, gives her team the opportunity to warm up, and then she goes with her gut to decide who's going to get the nod in the circle.
And just in conference play, they haven't always had the offensive support. They're playing from behind too often. So Minen the hitter with your pinch run or more. They don't want to leave the entirety of the task here to the 7th inning for a comeback. They have a chance here still with an out to work with.
Hollingsworth has cut it to a 2-run game with the leadoff solo shot.
Minen 1 for 2 today. Struck out against Bell back in the 2nd in a 3-up, 3-down inning. She came through, though, with a 2-out base hit her last time up before being left on back in the 4th. Right side, Hebner. Well, Julia Hollingsworth led off the inning with that solo shot. It cuts the lead for Houston down to 2. Last chance for the Cougars to add on before Tulsa gets its final 3 outs to answer in the home half of the 7th.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story so far.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Well, right now the task is to keep the Houston lead at just 2 runs. As Cassidy Scott still in the circle for Tulsa after coming in relief last inning. When Houston would plate 3, the first of those runs would be charged to Pocop, who had exited but right now is on the hook for the loss. All those runs were unearned with some miscues from the Tulsa defense.
Top of the order due up for the Cougars, looking to add to this 2-run lead. Hollingsworth, a solo shot in the bottom of the 6th, and is able to cut it.
Sarah Barker's the only spot in the lineup that did not come to the plate last inning. But she's going to have a chance to join in on the fun here.
A leadoff single right through the circle. Scott unable to get a glove to it. Barker does her job.
Sarah Barker 3 for 4 today with a run scored. This is her second single to go with the double back in the 3rd. See what Houston has in mind. You have to imagine that is a valuable run sitting right there at first. And they will pinch hit for Lindsey Stewart as Brianna Burton, surprise, surprise, out of the Houston area.
Junior righty out of Cypress, Cywoods High School product. We'll see if they like to play a little small ball. She tries to lay down a bunt to move Barker into scoring position.
This was the Houston baseball team. She would square around a bunt, keep that barrel out, but have no interest in actually making contact. Just want to interfere with the line of sight of the catcher to allow the runner to move on. A little harder to do on a smaller diamond. No signs of squaring around a bunt there for Burton. And this is after Lindsey Stewart was 0 for 3 today, flying out to left, center, and right.
Burton a .278 average. 10 hits and 36 at-bats this year. That's 4 runs batted in.
Ariel James is on deck. She's perfect today, 3 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. I should say 2 for 2 with a walk, RBI run scored. And you see a little bit more action as we could very well see the return of Samantha Pocop. Again, she got a start and a save yesterday in the same game. The fun nuance here in softball. Dels would pick up that win in relief.
Good pitch there from Scott. Finds the outside corner, evens the count.
Top half of the 7th inning. Houston looking for more insurance. The 2-2. As Scott with the strikeout.
Big strikeout for Cassidy Scott. Picks up her first. Burton down swinging for the first out of the inning.
Now faced 8 batters. 2 hits, 2 runs, none earned. A walk. First pitch swinging, James. And let's see if they're able to double her off. She's too quick. Was not tailor-made, and she'll reach on the fielder's choice. Barker wiped off the base paths for out number 2.
Next up, Sarah Queen.
Good stuff there. Scott having the wherewithal to wheel around. Knew she could get the lead base runner. Great job flashing the leather. Just couldn't come up with the double play to end the inning.
Yeah, nice job by Scott there in the circle. That's not an easy angle. Throw back to second. But it keeps a runner out of scoring position. Here's Sarah Queen with 2 away.
Queen looking for her first hit of the ball game.
Imagine the debate here is Kristen Vesely saying, do you want to hit a home run or a triple? They might be talking about something else. fourth batter this inning. Runner on first, 2 away for Queen. She walked last inning, would come home to score. Along with Ariel James on that error on the left side. Hebner's on deck if Queen can keep this inning alive.
Queen, the first batter up to face Cassidy Scott, drew the walk back in the sixth, and that's when, saw that previous pitch, that's when Scott is at her best, going right at opposing batters.
And we assume we will see Presley Bell back for the 7th inning. And it's a matter of whether they'll have an additional insurance run for her to work with. It'll be the bottom half of the lineup due up for Tulsa. This one's deep for the shortstop. Throw across the diamond in time. Sarah Bryars from just on the edge of that outfield grass, able to throw across and make the play to put an end to the 7th and keep it just a 2-run deficit for Tulsa heading into the bottom half of the 7th.
We're the visionaries chasing our dreams. Make a difference how we're living. Never routine. Conquer the impossible. Rise, break through. Fire in the belly. We got something to prove. The world's watching while we're reaching for gold. Go higher, go further. Let your story unfold. Passionately smashing every expectation. Create and express. Every act is innovation. Powerhouse.
I'm Kate Leahy, and this is my story. I love that TU is part of Tulsa, and that we're not stuck on campus. I'm in all sorts of organizations, and I've studied abroad, twice. At TU, I'm involved in whatever I want to be. I've learned that it's okay to change paths, because my life is an amazing book, and I'm still writing it, chapter by chapter. And that's my story, so far.
No surprise, it's Presley Bell in the circle. Still working with an insurance run here. Julia Hollingsworth with that home run to lead off last inning. That was the good news for Tulsa. The bad news is that means it's going to be a while until you would see her again.
Jessie Smith.
And Jessie Smith is going to be your pinch hitter for Tulsa.
Bell through 6 innings, he's given up 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 error, walked 2, struck out 2, and 23 batters faced, 92 pitches thrown.
Defensively, Lindsey Stewart's come back on in center after we had seen them pinch hit for her with Burton. Smith in for Bryars here. Smith from the Denver area, from Parker, Colorado.
Smith, 178 average, hitting 125 in the leadoff spot.
See if she can set the table. Just able to hold her swing, though, peel down.
Yeah, it looked like she wanted to take a cut at that one outside, but able to restrain herself.
Smith able to hold up. The 2-2. Left side gets through. Pinch hit for Smith to lead off here in the 7th inning.
Great stuff from Smith. Doing exactly what she was tasked with doing, a leadoff single past the diving Howie at short.
Again, now you need your 7, 8, and 9 hitters to come through for Tulsa. 2 to tie. Obviously 3 just to walk it off with a sweep for the weekend. And the first pinch hit opportunity went so well, they'll have another one here with Aubrey Cini, the Floridian, now in her freshman year, mainly in pinch hitting roles. She went to Montverde Academy, which has produced, I think, like 4 lottery picks in the past 3 years in the NBA draft.
That's been one of the best high school basketball teams in the last decade.
Including Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, a couple of others.
Rising powerhouse in the Sunshine State, not just on the hardwood, but on the diamond as well.
So Smith with the pinch hit single. Here's Cini hitting for Perry. Alexis Perry was the first run of the day after reaching on an error back in the 3rd. Hollingsworth drove her in on a sac fly. Hollingsworth drove in herself on the home run last inning. See if another Golden Hurricane can step up for some production here. Riley Spell on deck. Tori Stafford, your 9-hitter in the hole.
Seeing a 182 average.
And after a pinch hit from Smith, the next pinch hit opportunity, Cini goes down on strikes. One away.
Strikes out. Good job from Bell, able to battle back to pick up the strikeout after giving up the leadoff single.
So Tulsa down to their final 2 outs. They must score at least 2, and they have come up just short of what would have been the tying blast. Instead, runners on the corners, and now it'll be an extra base for Spell.
Spell puts it off the wall in right. Just a few feet short of tying this one up. Catcher blasts this one.
So close to making this a brand new ball game, but off the base of the wall past Thomas, staying on her horse with the double.
Spell a great job, able to put herself in scoring position, and now they will have a runner on for its second.
Yeah, Josie Muffley is going to understandably come in as a pinch runner. That's such a critical run.
Muffley second in the league among the rookies with their batting average, 358. A chance here to represent the tying run.
Tying run in scoring position. As we see Megan Gibson Lofton, again, the Texas A&M Hall of Fame standout when she was in the circle. That's one of the reasons, obviously, that Houston's had the success they've had with all these pitchers, is the great resource with Megan. 3-time All-American. Still need 2 outs before 2-run score.
We knew this was going to be a difficult task for Houston to get out of this one unscathed, even with the lead. Hollingsworth was able to cut it to 2, her leadoff home run in the 6th. Now the tying run in scoring position. 2 outs for Tulsa.
Jessie Smith had that pinch hit single. She's on 3rd right now. Josie Muffley, the runner, on 2nd, in for Spell. And here's Tori Stafford. Can the number 9 hitter also come through? Right side, they'll trade a run for an out. But that tying run is now 60 feet away. At the same time, here's Julia Hollingsworth. And this is what we call drama.
If you're a Tulsa fan, this is exactly what you want in this situation. Sharply hit over to the right side, fielded by James. And as you so correctly said, trading the out for the run with Hollingsworth stepping to the plate.
She homered last inning. And she may be making a graceful walk down to first. Smith scored. Muffley over on third. And they're going to put the burden on Michaela Witten, who's 0 for 3 today. And I think everybody back in Houston watching this is okay with this decision.
Absolutely. Hollingsworth leads the league, leads the conference, I should say, with batting, hitting a whopping .432.
If this was baseball, you would point and say, yeah, go ahead, send them down to first. Still got to throw the pitches. So the challenge essentially has been issued to the rest of this Tulsa lineup, namely Michaela Witten coming up here in the 2 spot. 0 for 3 today against Presley Bell. So you now have the winning run on the base pass. That's a fair ball, well played. Huebner steps on the bag. And the Houston Cougars survive Game 3 here in Tulsa. Presley Bell goes the distance. When we come back, a chance to talk with the Cougars before they head home on a winning note.
Scores 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Tulsa made it interesting, but Houston able to claim Game 3. Tulsa takes the weekend series 2-1 as check in with Bruce Howard and the victorious Cougars.
We're here with Kristen Vestley, the head coach of Houston. How important was this win for your team?
Oh, it's a huge win for us. They're a great program. They're strong in RPI, and it puts us in a good position to continue battle for conference.
And you gutted out this win and had to hold on at the end. What can you say about your young pitcher?
She's not young. She's an old soul. She's been around a while. What I can say about her is I couldn't be more proud of her maturity. She is a senior this year, but she had a tremendous year last year. And she learned to control momentum, and I've seen the growth in her, and it's unreal.
And what can this do to maybe propel you for the rest of the year?
I mean, I think we're going game to game, pitch to pitch. Great win. It's good to see the girls laughing and joking and having a good time and realizing their ability. And as a unit, they're pretty tough to beat when they play together.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's welcome in Presley Bell, who is a senior pitcher. Great job for you today. What was important and what was working for you?
It was really working whenever I stayed low in the zone, didn't let my pitches elevate too much, and really just hitting my spots to give my defense a chance to play behind me.
What were you thinking at the end of the game when Tulsa was threatening to tie the game up? What was your mindset as you approached those last couple of hitters?
My mindset was just to stay low in the zone and hit my spot so I could roll a ground ball to my defense.
And overall, as a veteran, as a player that's been around for a while, what can this win do for your team?
It can really just get us on the come up, the little push that we need to get ourselves to the other half of conference. So I think this win today was a big win to show us that we can do it whenever we all play together as a unit.
Presley, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Presley Bell, the winning pitcher today for the Houston Cougars, as Houston salvages the final game, an important win certainly for the Cougars.
Bruce, thank you. Cougars now 21-3 when they strike first in a ball game. Presley Bell, the pride of Liberty, Texas, the senior, guiding the Cougars to the Game 3 victory. Congratulations to Houston as they take this one on the road. For Bruce Howard, Kip McConico, I'm Lincoln Rose, and our entire American Digital Network crew, what a day on the diamond. Tulsa brought the drama in that final half inning, but the Cougs able to hang on for the 4-3 win in Tulsa.